Hello, Jon Sermon here again in Halesworth in Suffolk, in the area of the UK known as East Anglia. And here I lead two local churches and we meet by Zoom together, both congregations sharing in the same worship services 3 or 4 times a week. And that is during this lockdown when obviously we can't meet face to face in the buildings. Those of you who've been following what I've been putting out, it's intended to be encouragement for people in these difficult circumstances, and especially I've recently majored on encouraging us to explore what it's like to pray, including for people who maybe haven't prayed or not much ever before. I want to encourage you with this morning's experience. At our worship service on Zoom, we had a number of the regulars from the Lowestoft congregation and a number of the regulars from the Halesworth congregation, as we usually do. And a couple of weeks ago, we were blessed by a pastor and his family from Uganda joining our worship. And that sort of thing will happen again. I'm intending, in fact, to have a visiting preacher from Uganda before very long. And today, as a result of an approach I'd received only yesterday afternoon, we also had a visitor from Canada. And to be with us at the time of our service, where this young lady lives, she had to be up by 5:30 in the morning, but she chose to do so. And I was really encouraged by that. She's someone I'd never met before, but I do know her pastor. She's studying at university in Canada. She comes from a local church in Uganda where I have been the visiting preacher in person, not by Zoom, on a number of occasions over several years. It's part of our link that I have through my role as Chair of Trustees of Romans 1:11 Trust, supporting training pastors and church schools and orphanages in Uganda. So the very fact that we had such a visitor with us was a huge encouragement to the whole gathered congregation. So was our prayer time. Now, if you are used to attending churches at all, or if you're not used to it, but you imagine what it's like, you're probably thinking of prayers as led by a minister or other senior person, as it were, from the front. And if the people in general are joining in, it's usually with pre-prepared set responses. Now, we have a certain amount of that in our churches too. But what has been so encouraging is the way spontaneous prayer is developing more and more through these worship services on Zoom. That people feel enabled and encouraged to contribute to the prayer time themselves in their own words, so much so that we have to control the amount of time that's given to prayer in case it overruns and our available time slot is gone without preaching the word. And it is such an encouragement to have people who, in other circumstances, some of them very shy to voice their own prayers aloud in company of others, finding they can do so more and more, and thus sparking each other off, and the whole atmosphere of us together raising our praises to God is itself an encouragement. If you've never had chance or never chosen to be part of such an engagement, there's plenty of opportunities now, not just in our church. Most churches across the UK are using technology as ways of communicating with people whilst we can't gather in the buildings. And in our case, using Zoom, it's interactive, so everybody can contribute. If it's on YouTube, for example, you can simply receive it, but you can see how those who were involved were interacting with each other. I really want this to be an underlining of the encouragement I've been trying to give over recent weeks. Even if you've never prayed before, try it, because God is inviting you into relationship with himself in such a way that transforms, doesn't deal with, but somehow transforms the overall backdrop of the awful circumstances we're living through. That God is above and beyond all of those circumstances and able to reach into the very depths of our hearts to encourage us. God bless you all.